to the media space here in Kenya, and we pray that, Lord, you use him in a great and mighty way to help him unpack your truth to us. And we pray that you bless our time together in Jesus' name. Amen. Great.
Asante sana, bro. Good morning. Mko sawa? Yes. Ya ukweli? Yep. Okay. Mute that one. Great. I'm excited to be here. It's a privilege. Pastor Cole, thank you very much for the invitation. I'd like to extend also my appreciation to the senior pastor here, Reverend Jesse Mwai, who was my senior pastor at Citam Current before he moved to Valley Road. He still remains my pastor, my good friend, and I'm glad that he has made this possible. I also want to appreciate you guys for coming. I'm hoping you came by choice. Si wale waliambiwa amka lazima uende conference, upende usipende toka kwa hii nyumba. But either way uko hapa and you have no choice, si ndio? Pambana na hali yako as we move forward. Now I just want to bring a few thoughts to you, just a few thoughts, because I know in this matter of media side, there's a lot that you already know. There's a lot that you have come across. There's a lot you're already connecting with, the ideas you have. Some of you may be influencers as you're seated here. If we came to your social media pages or handles, we'll see that you are a recognized person within the circle of your influence. And therefore, I am not here to try and teach you new things, but hopefully be able to point a few things that you may want to think about, and a few things that if you consider can give you an edge in the dispensation that you are in. But just a few thoughts that I will be sharing with you. And then hopefully at the end of it, I will want us to have time to have some conversation amongst ourselves and come out with things that you believe you can action from this conference, from what you have learned today. Because I want to believe that at the end of the day, if the information you get will not be put into effect, then tumefanya tu PE. Tumepiga story, utilize time yetu in a different manner, and then we move on with life. But I'm hoping you can single out a thing or two that you can commit and say, on this one, nitafanya kitu. Now, I just want to look at the shift that we have had in terms of media over time. And hopefully look at the shift that we have had from mainstream media to social media. And then look at the shift that is going on from social media to artificial intelligence, and how that affects a lot of the things that you are doing or will be required to do, including careers that you are hopefully looking forward to studying. There are things that you've already put your heart to do. There are things that probably you've sat together as a family and your parents have put certain ideas that this is a good direction to take. But we want to see what are some of the things that may be affected over time, courtesy of AI. And what do you need to do? Is it something to cause you to panic, or is it something that you can handle and manage? Hopefully bring to your attention a few things that if you pay more close attention to, you'll begin to see the hidden hand behind the content you consume often. And so just to look at a brief history, just a few things to bring to your attention. Let's start with what we call mainstream media. The broadcast, ideally, through radio, through TV, and print media. Now, by the time the first television, for example, was coming into play, it was first coined in 1900 by a gentleman called Constantine Parsky. He was doing a paper to some international congress of electricity, and he coined the first name television, beginning to put an idea on people concerning. Let me put this on silent. Sorry, guys. I'm sure my call will be. Yeah, let me do that. And he was actually doing a paper, and people began putting together ideas on how the television would become alive. Abilities to be able to transmit images and sound through telecommunication. And ideas came up, and by 1936, we'll now get our first proper broadcast, so to speak. And in 1939, we get now this broadcast being made available for the whole world to see. Now, it provided opportunity for interesting things. First of all, we realized that at this time, families will be put together, and through one set TV set in the household or wherever it will be put, you will bring communities together through families to watch content. They were a captive audience that had been brought together to fix their eyes on a TV screen. And of course, the TV screens then, because they are trying to do this, are big. I don't know if you guys were born at the time when we had those TVs that had got a big back. What used to be called CRT. Anyone who was born in a household that had a CRT TV? Nyinyi ni wazee kiasi. The later guys in the generation Alpha only know flat TV. They have no idea. My kids have no idea that there used to be a TV with such a huge a back called CRT. You know, now we have got even smart TVs that you speak and it responds. Unaipatia instruction, ina respond ile kitu unataka. Now, this time everyone is being glued to a TV set. And this begins to bring us to the place of broadcast media, where from one point, everybody else consumes that one set of information. And it is given to everybody at the same time. Now, during the days when we first came through to be exposed to TV, for example, in our time, I remember there used to be a specific time KBC would be opened. Your parents will probably know this story. That time it was called VOK. At 4 p.m., ndio TV imefunguliwa, pop. And you guys know you have got until maybe 10 or midnight, I can't remember exactly, one of the two. Nikifika, the station will be closed officially until the following day at 4. Which means if you wanted to watch a particular program at a particular time, what you needed to do is to rush home, fix yourself in front of the TV to consume the content at that particular time. If you miss it, imenda. And we created a programmed people who will watch content at a particular time, specific moment, specific day, and you don't have another opportunity of getting it. You miss it, it is gone. And of course, things began shifting. Now, this set that allowed people to be fixed here provided room for three important things. Number one, advertising. Now, advertisers, so there is a captive audience that we can use to communicate particular things. Now, through advertising, interesting things began to emerge even in terms of how culturalization would happen. Now, you may not have noticed perhaps, but I used to wonder at some point why somebody is selling a car, but this car cannot be sold without a particular image of a fine lady with a particular feature, particular complexion, particular length of hair, seated in a particular suggestive way, selling a car. I would wonder, is she the mechanic? You're like, haezi kuwa mechanic huyu? What is it that she's representing? Then you will begin to realize when you get into the depths of the media practice, then you realize that these guys have studied the psychology of the people. I want to attract a man who wants to feel powerful. This is the man I want to buy the car. Now, I am presenting him a value proposition that tells him there is a car if you get, it comes with added value. It attracts a particular look of a girl X. And this guy all of a sudden begins to imagine, Nyamjui. What did he put the pesa? Munisema ni gariga. If this is the car that will make this lady with a figure 8 or whatever figure it is, with this complexion, this beauty, to come and sit as a co-driver, how much? Ready to buy. They will be selling
hair for ladies. Hair. Whether ni nywele ya farasi, makonge, they matter. But then you got some fine guys who are gym. Biceps. Handsome. Tall. Whatever it is. They look like they were busy doing some very serious things. And then a lady has to pass. And everybody... Are you getting it? Now, all of a sudden, this girl who wants to feel appreciated, wants to feel loved, what they will call, quote unquote, sexy. They will say, like, wow, if only I can get this hair. The following day, there is somebody at Komali River Road looking for this hair, because in the subconscious, if this is the hair that makes Mr. Tall, dark, and handsome with biceps and looks like he has chums to turn his head, I want the hair. Now, while they are buying the hair, what they are actually seeking for is that validation of the heads of men turning. They did not tell you, but the packaging created an impression. Now, when they came to now doing even things like advertising stars and those kind of things, particular images, I was surprised, by the way, when one of my relatives went abroad to the USA. Now, the mentality I've heard about US, majority of the US women, I have not been to the US, so I'm telling you stories I've received. But from the movies I have watched, I have assumed, like in the US, 80-90% of the women are slim-figured. And they all walk in a particular car. It doesn't matter what they are doing, they are always as if there is some wind that is blowing. Now, my relative goes to the US and tells me, will you believe that a majority of the people he has met in the US are actually plus size? Plus size. Now, you in Kenya, who has not been in the US, you have entered into a fasting period program that even the pastor has not approved. Because there is a tummy you have seen that has been advertised through movies that you want to kill yourself to achieve. Yet the person selling to you themselves is plus plus. That there is a picture that has been given to you, and that image has come subtly into the subconscious, and you don't even realize that you're pushing your life to achieve a standard that even the ones giving you does not have. And the world now has been given a particular standard to live up to. If you don't have some serious abs, six-pack, I have been going to the gym. I'm sure you're wondering where. Even me, I've been asking myself that question. I've been working out, and every time I look at myself in the mirror, I see the problem with the mirror. Because it is not reflecting what I am feeling. I am feeling biceps. I am feeling muscles. I am feeling, I have a flat, I am feeling it. When I do the abs and the core, I feel like everything in the tummy is gone. When I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, what is wrong with these things from China? Now, there is an image you build because there is something you have seen and a trend that has been created that makes you feel this is where the real substance lies and where the real value lies. Advertising. Now, the second thing that this TV set created an importance value for was entertainment. Now, in the entertainment, they will sit and create images of stars, create images of the perfect artist who is the most successful. I will see sometimes back in the day when somebody has just released their first song. In that song that they have released, the first thing they're talking about is haters. Now, who is hating on you? We don't even know you. Your first song or your haters. Okay? This song about the haters. You're like, Chief, at least do something to give us a room to determine whether or not we can hate you. We can't hate you you have presumed and you are giving us. Then you look for a vehicle that has got fine ladies. And that time back in the days of hip hop. And they will have this gas with some serious springs. And everyone will be. Now you come to an estate like Isili, you will find guys getting their small vehicle somewhere. Then they will have to find some two ladies somewhere and they fix them in the car. And you are head out and your arm out, elbow out. And you guys are in the streets of Isili, banging your head. There's no spring because you don't even know how that spring is achieved. But in your head, and everybody in that street, and there is a sense of we have made it. Whether you are broke or not, whether that guy does not belong to you or not, you have an impression to create. Because you have watched music videos, you have watched content that has made you feel this is what it means to be a success. So if I'm an artist, the first thing that goes through your mind, I want to create content. I want to do my first music video. What do I need in this content? I need a flashy car. Taka tu gari moja kali. Okay? Why is it relevant? You don't even know, but I have seen it subconsciously. Nataka tu gari moja noma. I need some fine models. They're called vixens, video vixens. And if you have noticed a particular trend of late, there are particular features they need to have. For you to become a proper video vixen of late, one of the qualities you have is to shake in a particular manner, likely to give us the impression an earthquake is happening. We have a particular image that has been created, sexualization of women, that you're only good in this video when you turn your back to us. And the guy is singing. Na kuna watu hapa hivi, their business is to twerk. Sexualization of content. Because there's a narrative created that says sex sells. So you create what is called a sex appeal. And if you want to get a sex appeal, you have to look for sexual objects that you can introduce for a sex appeal. So when we are watching this content, what is gluing us first of all, before we get to the lyrics, is wait, damn. See. Damn. Before you say, what was the content? The thing that I remember. Damn. That is why somebody can do a whole music video and all they are saying, gonga, piga, chapa, rarua, finya, gonga, teta, tita, ti. A whole 3 minutes and a half. What is it that is in this called? Gonga, finya. Now okay, tunagonga nini? You interpret, because the things za kugongwa ziko kwa video. Lima, lakini si shamba, haiko kwa shamba. Lima, piga. Hiyo piga, lima, finya, iko tu, you decide what it is kwa hiyo space. Entertainment began to push narrative for sexualized content. Began to create a push and an image. Now, when they wanted to push drugs, in fact, there's a time, there's a pastor friend of mine called Pastor Steve Jonathan Mang. He's done some very interesting expose on music, artists, both secular and gospel, and how they've been used to push particular narratives, particular things. When the world needed to popularize the smoking of bang, in his expose, he gives an exposition of how the introduction of the legendary Bob Marley and how he had an influence and how his influence was connected to the smoking of cannabis sativa and the whole reggae movement. And he will sit and look at a guy, Elvis Presley, when he was doing rock and roll. You guys know the genre rock and roll? Did you know that rock and roll, ideally the history or the concept behind it was rocking is the element of have sex and roll over. Rock and roll. And they will go into concerts, and one of the things that will be the identity of his concerts is, once the concert is done, the next thing that will follow are sexual orgies and people being just loose sexually. And you will see how an individual could be used as a point of influence to push a particular narrative, whether it is drugs and substance abuse. There are artists that have been raised up to push the influence of gangster lifestyle. Gangs and all these silver, golden teeth that you've never seen your grandma with or anybody in your society, but somehow, kuna kakitu, what is this thing about the silver tooth that I need to put? Looks like swag. But there are people who have got a history behind it. How did it reach us? The media began to push it. Now, the third thing that this TV set created a serious opportunity for was propaganda. The ability to tell a lie convincingly. Now, when I was in film school, and we had the privilege of being taught with guys who had got even experience and exposure in Hollywood. And one of our trainers, I've never forgotten, was giving us an example of a movie to watch. He wanted us to understand the power that we had in our hands as producers and filmmakers. He told us you have a business of making people to believe whatever you want them to believe. It's called the art of make-believe. And he sent us to watch a movie called Wag the Dog. It's an old movie. And he wanted us to understand that that which was being portrayed in the movie would be able to demonstrate to us the power that you have through media. And he began to take us to this movie. And this movie is about a scandal that had befallen an American president with a secretary that he had. Now, because of the family values that the people believe in, it was going to be something that was going to make him lose his re-election. And they sat down and said, what do we do to counter this problem? Because this one is costing us the election. And one guy in his team says, we need a film producer. What do you mean we need a film producer? We need a film producer to do what? To create a scenario that can shift the attention of the people from the real issue and create them into a thing that has been created and make them to believe that thing is true. So they get a famous producer and they ask him, can you solve this thing? He says, easy peasy. And he comes up with an idea of creating war, that America is at war with a particular country. And they film jets landing and things created in a studio, non-existent completely. But because there is only one set of communication, there is only one way of you receiving that information from that place. You have no other place of verifying whether it is true or it is false. So they create this thing, and the next thing the president is giving a speech, State of the Nation address. America, we are at war. It is in times like this that we must come together to save the nation of America. America, we are at war. Now, the person who wanted to say, but this guy slept with his secretary. Wait first. Between sleeping with the secretary and winning war, where is your priority? Right now, the priority is defending the nation. Kama mbaya, mbaya. And the narrative begins to change, and they begin to bring organized analysts. When they come to news, their work is to give history. The last time America was facing aggression, ABCD, statistics created to make the people believe that this thing is gonna kill you. People have been paid to pose as soldiers of the opposing team with masks and entering into certain caves, preparing to come to fire. You look at the movie, you're like, are you kidding me? And you're done. And so eventually, elections come. The people re-elect the president. And then, unfortunately, they had to execute the film producer because he knew too much. And actually, he wanted to be recognized. There's something called film credits. You want to know, I am the one who made this movie. They couldn't take it. He was killed. Now, after watching the movie and doing our analysis, the trainers will come and tell us, that is the power in your hands. We are effectively training you to create narratives that the world must believe. And so with that at the back of my mind, anytime for me I watch a movie, watch a series, I begin to observe trends and I ask myself, what narrative is being pushed? I don't know how many of you have noticed, for example, the consistent narrative of introducing LGBTQ in content. You begin watching content about law. It's a nice program about lawsuits and the intrigues of the court processes. It is exciting. Somewhere in between, there has to be somebody who is of the alphabet. You are being programmed to receive this news as it is common and normal to have them in the society. Now, secondly, you notice they're not just being introduced. I am yet to come across, personally, maybe you have, and have not watched everything, but I am yet to come across a villain who is homosexual. Most often than not, they are the heroes. They are the guys who are so good. They love people so much. They give. They are so giving. Yani this guy is so good mpaka unajiuliza, aki sincerely speaking, hata fadhali huyu kushinda pastor wetu. Just see the way they take care of the people. Just see the way they go out of their way to save. It is a very well calculated narrative as far as I am concerned. Stories are being created to paint a picture, to communicate something that you may not know it up front, but always know there is somebody somewhere who knows exactly what they are doing. During Corona, I was surprised, Pastor Cole, the other day I was talking to a doctor na history ya homa. Na anasema ati, by the way, ni kama Corona iko. And I asked myself, ile Corona moja? Ati ile moja. Then why are the situations different now? Then I remembered that at the height of Corona, every 3 p.m., a gentleman would come on the screen and tell us, fellow Kenyans, if you continue to deal with this thing normally, it will deal with you abnormally. And then you will see ambulances, dramatic fashion, bodies wrapped in some things I don't even know how ilikuwa jualama, whatever it is. And you see how burials are being done. They throw a body in and they spray all over. You're like, man, this thing is gonna kill us all. I don't know, why is it that we don't have as much fear now as it was then? May I suggest to you for free, if the government begins today at 3, and every 3 p.m. they come to the screen to tell us, fellow Kenyans, there is a new strain in the air. And they show us 2-3 examples of people who breathed and fell. None of you will come here tomorrow. Whether it is proven or not, the power. Now, when these guys realize the influence of this thing, they discovered, by the way, whoever controls the broadcaster of the media controls the people. So how do you control the people or the media? Now, there are guys, and there was a report that was done. I'm sure you guys may not have come across it. But there was a report in Kenya that had been done where chief editor. Now, when you go and collect news, it comes to an editor, the chief editor, who determines what goes on air. So anything that you see in the broadcast media, there is somebody who has been tasked to sieve, to go through what goes on air. Now, if I buy the chief editor, which means if I corrupt the chief editor, if you came and filmed something about me in a negative sense, for instance, and it comes to the film, the chief editor, he has the opportunity of determining whether it goes on air or not. In fact, he can tweak it. He has that power. So somebody will sit and say, if I can get control of this guy, then I have control of what goes out. Now, others went a step ahead and said, no, I can just buy the media house. And sometimes you may be wondering why we have politicians who want stakes in media houses, and some have tried to create their own. They have realized there is a power that controls the narrative from here, that I can determine what you see and hear, that whoever comes to listen and watch this channel, all they will see are positive vibes. And if I want to discredit my opponent, all you will see are negative vibes. So if I am opposed to somebody else and I have a control of this channel, everything we want to get about that person must be negative. So you who is only watching this particular biased channel, you have a biased story. So you have been denied opportunity to make a rational decision based on all facts available. So it is easy for somebody to tweak you into a particular direction because you don't have the benefit of all information to make a logical decision. If I am controlling this narrative, I can choose to make Pastor Cole a hero or a villain. I can choose to portray this guy as the biggest hero the world has ever seen. And I can choose to portray this guy as the worst thing that has ever happened to humanity. Because I control the narrative. Now, while we were fixed with the media, and of course you have the broadcast, and of course they try to introduce, and they still have regulations. There are certain requirements for journalism, how to practice. There are certain things that they are put there. There are acts of the law that have been put that enforce these things. Then suddenly we make a shift to social media. Now, in the mainstream media, at least we had a broadcaster who is regulated. In the mainstream media, we had a broadcaster who you can sue and take to the court. In the mainstream media, we could say there's a certain level of content that cannot be shown in a particular duration. It's called a watershed period. That is what is called prime time. That this time, families are seated at home. Children are there. Even advertising, there are certain products that should not be advertised within the watershed period. That should be about 6 to 10 p.m. You should not be able to. If there is content that is sexual, this violence, it is threatening national values, and it's threatening the safety of a nation, and it's threatening certain religions or those kind of things, there is a whole government arm called the Kenya Film Classification Board, mandated to authorize what is being shown, and they have the authority to also ban and say, this content will not be shown in Kenya. You can try it anywhere, but in Kenya you will not be able to see it. There is that bit of control that has been given. Now, come to social media. Social media gives you power to connect to millions like this. But social media does not have the controls that are in the mainstream media. Now, in the mainstream media, the key guy is the broadcaster. He determines who is on air and who is not. He determines what program goes on air and what program does not. He determines what content you can consume and what content you cannot. He has the burden of responsibility because you can sue. Today you can sue NTV for publicizing a false story. If NTV airs a story they did not verify, and you prove that they are wrong, this is an example, you can sue them. Now we have come to social media where everybody is anybody. All you need to do is an account. And you can begin to create your own circle of influence. Then you are the one who determines what you consume, when you consume it, how you consume it. You are not only a consumer, but you are at the same time a content creator. Because you are also forwarding content. You're also recording content. You're also posting content. You are not a trained journalist to be able to understand certain moral values. So for instance, if it is a mainstream media, there is an accident. These are bodies. They will do everything they can to make sure they don't show bodies on air. Because you can imagine you are at home, you had no clue your parent is dead, for instance. And here it is, you're watching a mainstream station, and your father or mother or relative, their body is being shown. You can imagine the shock it creates. You can imagine the effect it will have on the person who is watching and is connected. So the journalist is trained to know there are things they have to be able to do what? Avoid for certain reasons. But here comes you. Guys, hata tuko hapa hivi kuna accident. Angalia mkono. Watu wanakufa kukufa. I told you, August iko na kashida sijui ni nini. Send. You had no time to imagine the person receiving the news on the other end. Anafaa afikirie nini? You are just 19, 20. You're just a young guy. Niko na bundles and nimeona opportunity ya kukuwa the first person to break the news. Mi hakuna mtu aliniambia that there is something that can affect another person. Nikikuja kwa hii accident scene, ni record venye iko, nichukue mili ya watu ni post. The journalist who is trained will know, if I put a stunt like that, kesho, mimi, kwanza license yangu ya kupractice inaweza enda. Number 2, wacha mimi, the station, people will get sued. Now you, Wambo Wagedo, how do we even start discovering? Wambo Wagedo ni nani? When you go to mainstream, there is a task of verifying. They try to the level best, to the least that I know, that they verify the information before it is broadcasted. Now, in social media, there is a race to be the first to break the news. I want to be the first one to say it. So I have no time to verify, is this information true or false? Recently, your church was being discussed. Now, I read the things that were on social media. Thank God for me, I had an opportunity of accessing the senior pastor to ask, hey bro, form? By the time I was getting the version of the people on the ground and comparing it to the story that was on social media, I could not even believe the difference between the two. Because we had already believed what was given to us through the socials. Now, by the time it has spread and it has become viral, Kenyans have no time to come back and say, guys, wait, let's do an audit. Okay? Hii month, kulikuwa na story 5 zilikuwa viral. Tuli take time kama a responsible online audience kuconfirm kama hizo stories zilikuwa kweli. Tulizishare because zilikuwa hot. Lakini sasa because ziko cold, tunataka to confirm kama hizo story zilikuwa kweli. Na by the way tumeconfirm 3 out of 4 zilikuwa false. So wadhi poleni wadhi, tuliwaribia jina lakini it's life. it goes. Now you are in a place where responsibility has been given to you, but we don't have the stringent mechanisms to make you accountable yet. Of course, these guys who are doing the social media platforms, why it has ballooned and why there is a struggle, there are people pushing them to have certain limitations. But there is a level that if they hit, as far as I'm concerned, social media will stop being social media. It will lose its gist because now it will begin to operate like mainstream media. The gist of social media can allow you to connect easily, freely with your circle. You can be able to create content quickly, easily with your circle and share, and people can appreciate you. And people have come to discover talents we'll never have known existed if the only channel would have been mainstream. But there is a certain level that if it is imposed upon social media, then it comes to a place where it can fail to operate as it has been, which gives it the life that propels it, as far as I see it. Now, this balance then, as much as there are certain things they are putting across, there are certain things that you'll find even now if you go to YouTube, for example, there are certain limitations. There's a certain level of content. If you put at a company, it can be struck off. There are things that they're trying to do. The question becomes for you, how do we equip you to be the responsible person who can sit and say, before to sort the bigger mess, I have a circle of influence of 1,000, 3,000, 10,000, 100,000, 10 people. It doesn't matter. That I have a responsibility to ensure this content I am sharing, is it content that should be shared by me or to the people as it is? Some of the things, for example, KFCB look at when they're looking at content that is fit for people to consume. They look at things like language, for example. Does the content possess foul language? That's why sometimes you may see content that has got some certain blips to shield the word that was being spoken that needed not to have been spoken. They look at language. Is the language appropriate for the people? 2, they look at things like sex and sexual content. Is this content sexual? Is this content supposed to be consumed by everybody? Is there a limitation of age? That's why they put for you PG, they put for you 16, they put for you 18, 20, whatever the ratings there are. What is fit for everyone is given GE. Even a small kid can watch. You begin to ask yourself, is this content that possesses information that threatens national unity? That is part of the responsibility of KFCB and many others. What is it that you can use and say, for me, by the time I am thinking about broadcasting content, sharing content on my platform, there are certain things I will be looking at to be able to ask myself, is this content worth me as Wambo Agedo to share? I have certain levels I've created of value system to check that anything that does not meet this, I am not able to share it. Now, the other challenge that has come with social media is that, yes, you are super informed, but you can be super informed only on the things that interest you. Now, the social media is designed in an interesting way that there are algorithms that can give you what from your past search. They can predict and say, I suspect huyu anapenda content ya nani ama inakaa hivi. So before you click, the next thing that pops up to you is something that looks to be similar to your choice or taste bud. So you are continually consuming content designed to fit your taste alone. So yes, I know a lot about certain things. Yes, I'm exposed. But exposed to what? You can only be exposed to an area of your interest. Now, when you come to the difference, you come to mainstream. Mainstream, they consider many things across board. They consider business. They consider family. They consider entertainment. They consider spiritual. They have a whole list of things that they are looking at that feeds the entire society. And so they give you a more balanced content to pick and feed from. In social media, you only go for that which inakubambaga. Mimi kama ni mtu wa genge, the first option that comes to you. So it means for you to expand your reach of knowledge, you need to expand what you are deliberately choosing to search for. What am I exposing my eyes and ears to? What do I want to know in this space? It becomes an important thing for you to begin thinking about. Now, within the social media, there is a culture that has come up called cancel. You can be cancelled. You can cancel people. In fact, as a group, mukishikana watu watano chini ya mti, in 1 hour, you can cancel everyone. We don't say we unfollow you. We report you. We do whatever. And you can be caught up in a euphoria of things. We stone without thinking. We shoot without blinking. We don't even, in fact, it creates almost like a mob justice psychology. Some people say it's not even mob justice. There's no justice in it. That we do fast, think later. Now, when I was growing up in Isili back in the day, one of the things that was very traumatizing that I remember was the element of mob justice. That if somebody said, Mwizi, people will not want to know, okay, ameibi anani, ameiba nini, can we verify? Now, it appeared normal until one day, it was my brother who was caught in the mix. So my brother goes to an estate, and because of rivalries up and pale, the guys felt this guy bana ametuzoea sana. They wanted to punish him or teach him a lesson. So the guys gang up and start screaming, Mwizi. And they point at my bro. And my bro is wondering, Mwizi? What are you talking about? Now, while unasema Mwizi, 3 people have come out na tire. Somebody akona mawe. So we are at home, and guys come busting in. Brathenu this anauliwa. Anauliwa. You're like, what? And the panic and the reality. You push, and by the time you get to the scene to try and rescue your brother, and that's him, ameiba nini. The person with the stone, ataenda kakuliza, na badhu mse ameiba nini. Ameibia nani? Wait, ameibia nani? Nani alisema mwizi? The guys who even said mwizi have already left. I have had that experience of knowing that somebody close to you can be lynched innocently. And nobody cares to figure out, is it true? Is it factual? We have no time to prove. There is no room for justice when you are the one being trolled or accused online. There is no room for confirmation. That if we don't take responsibility to think of our actions, you can be well-meaning, but your well-meaning actions can be detrimental to people's lives and livelihoods without you knowing. And that responsibility, we hope, can get to you. Now, lastly, before we finish, we come and realize now there is something that has come on board called AI. Now, AI is doing 3 interesting things that are important to consider. One, the implications it has on the job market. Let me read for you. This is a report by Microsoft researchers. And they were giving a report on the 40 jobs that have got the highest impact as of the data today, based on the capabilities of AI today. It keeps on changing and improving. But based on the present capabilities, there are certain things that they feel these ones are going to be highly impacted. Now, you're in this space. Some of you are getting into university. Some of you probably are in uni. You're already having plans underway. You need to be able to know we are in a system. The technology is shifting and changing things. How is it affecting our lives? So these are just some of the lists they gave. It could be more. But in their analysis, they talk about the following 40 jobs that are highly impacted by AI. They talk about interpreters and translators. Kuna ka challenge itakuja. Historians. They talk about passenger attendants. They talk about sales representatives of services. They talk about writers and authors. They talk about customer service representatives. CNC tool programmers, telephone operators, ticket agents and travel clerks, broadcast announcers and radio DJs, brokerage clerks, farm and home management educators, telemarketers, concierges, political scientists, news analysts, reporters, journalists. Interesting. They talk about mathematicians, technical writers, proofreaders, and copy markers, hosts and hostesses, editors, business teachers, post-secondary, public relations specialists, demonstrators and product promoters, advertising sales agents, new account clerks, statistical assistants, counter and rental clerks, data scientists, personal financial advisors, archivists, economists, teachers, post-secondary, web developers, management analysts, geographers, models, market research analysts, public safety telecommunicators, switchboard operators, library science teachers, post-secondary. They give this list saying, any job that is dependent on knowledge or things that can easily be done through AI are becoming highly impacted. And what is happening in the global scene in terms of the job market, a lot of companies are now reducing their hiring on jobs that can be done by AI. They're also reducing those already who have been hired. Now, what does that make you do? It is not to make you panic. Realize that you will not lose a job because of AI or to AI. You will lose it to somebody who knows how to use AI. So as you are building on skills, part of the things you will need to start thinking about is learning about how to use AI and how AI is effectively being used to do work more efficiently. In fact, now there is a saying, of course, we used to say that what a man can do, a woman can do better. I'm sure you guys heard about that. Now, what a man can do, AI can do better. And there is that bit of asking yourself, this which you can do and you're building your life on today, how will it be impacted by AI? And if you studied about this AI, how can you use it to be able to help you advance your skill sets and the abilities that you have? It is not to make you fear, but you can also not afford to walk ignorantly. You need to be able to be aware that this is the environment I am in. And so, as I am building my career on this particular dimension, I need to be able to know there is an employer who will be asking himself, why do I need to employ 10 accountants if part of the work can be done by a machine? So instead of 10, maybe I can get 2 who can use AI to do the work for 10. So you equip yourself. Right now in America and parts of Europe, there is a career that is springing up called AI consultant. Companies are looking for AI consultants who can come and train them based on their needs and what they are doing, how AI can help them be able to do what they do more effectively. We have got programs that create, you have an online meeting. By the time the meeting ends in 30 seconds or a minute, everybody has been given the whole minute's record sent to your email. AI has condensed it, picks it, analyzed it, prepared it as a proper minute record and sent it. Now, initially, there will be a secretary who will be taking notes and writing them down and then going to type and then sending it to somebody to proofread and confirm, to second it, and then send it to everyone. If that is the only thing that individual knows, they will soon become irrelevant in that space. There are many things that AI is sorting quickly in a much faster way that you need to be aware. In the space I am in, what are the tools that are available to me that can help me become more efficient and I can still exercise control and the skills that I possess. Now, while that is a good thing to know, there is another thing that is now being created as a challenge in the regards of content and what we share. I'm sure you guys have come across and know about deepfake, right? That you can now create content about a person or put somebody in a space that looks so convincing that if you're not careful, you will fail to be able to know if that thing is true or false. That you can create, I saw guys who, they will take a photo. I'm sure you may have seen that online. They will take a photo of certain political leaders. And they decide that these two people will be, they look nice kissing. And they create it, poop, and they push it. Now, it comes to you and you're excited. Hey, content Nikali. There is somebody who does not know this is AI generated, does not know how to analyze what is AI generated, and they will believe it, share it, comment, put emotions, na ni story may create you on AI. How will you be able to know what you need to verify, as this is verifiable content? Is it content I can put up or not? Because the responsibility is on you. Now, the other thing that we are, like yesterday I was having a conversation with one of the lead advocates of Kenya Copyright Board. And now they're trying to look at how to revise and amend the existing act that protects copyrights in Kenya. And one of the challenges that is emerging, that is being created by AI, is that as per the laws of Kenya as they are today, copyright can only be attributed to somebody who has generated, who has created the content, the authorship. Now, if you use AI to create content, with the existing laws, he's telling me that your copyright can be contested to the extent you do not have valid copyright if that thing that you claimed, mimi niliambia AI itengeneze hii wimbo. That copyright is supposed to be given to who? And you can't give copyright to a machine called AI. So in other words, you have created content that you cannot have copyright over. It is content that anybody can use at any time. And the idea of copyright is to protect your commercial interests. That I have created content and I can be able to gain financially from the content, and my children can gain financially even when I am gone. Because your copyright lasts for the lifetime of your life plus 50 years in Kenya. So it means if you created a catchy song, a catchy video that has worked, and everybody has loved it, it should be able to feed you today and feed you for the rest of your life. And when you die, your children or assigns should be able to feed from it for at least 50 years. That is the value of copyright. But now the AI has produced a legal challenge that they're trying to grapple with, and not just Kenya, it's the whole world. How then do we handle this issue? Because if you've created it, you gave instructions to AI. It created the song, created the video, edited for you. Who owns the copyright? So you are busy creating content, but you don't have legal protection for that content. Those are the realities that now even the government through the mandated bodies are trying to grapple with, to try and figure out how do we deal with the issue of AI. Now, when AI or somebody has used AI to violate your copyright, who do you charge? Who can take a machine to court and say, we are charging this machine that was created, that created this? So those are legal things that are being looked at as we are speaking, that have been created on account of this new technology, the advancement of artificial intelligence. And it is good you know, because you guys are content creators. Know that this is the environment you are in now. And how then do I secure my content as much as I want to get efficiency? What do I need to do to ensure that I protect this content, so that you have the copyright for what you are creating and you can benefit from it years to come? A crafty person can see what you're doing, steal from it, run with it. Then by the time you want to cry foul, you're like, okay, let's go to court. Then the task is on you, prove it is yours. Then we bring the law. Based on the law, do you have standing? And what they're telling us, it can become a matter of serious contention, which can make you lose your content. So think about what you're creating, how you're creating it to protect your copyright, until probably they amend and give us a proper framework that helps us know, in the light of AI, how are they going to treat copywriting of content that has been created by authors. Lastly, when we did this programming, we created a programmed man. This is a man who knew time, specific thing, and they were very gullible. They did not have a lot of sources of information to compare, to try and verify. When we transited to the virtual man, because now social media has created an opportunity of you delinking yourself from the person who is commenting. So there are people who are serious keyboard warriors. You meet them one-on-one. Different individual, different capacity. In social media, you can attack without blinking. You can say whatever you want. But when you come on face-to-face, you don't experience the same character with the people that you see online. It creates a virtual man. This person has got a lot of access to information. But you can also be very confused because you're wondering, what do you believe? You can also be very limited because algorithms are trying to contain you to what they think you would most likely prefer. You don't have as much info as you will think you have. You only have depth in the area that is most likely your area of interest. We need to be able to know how to expand. Then AI is giving us an alternative of having the alternative man. That there is something, a machine that can give you better results than an individual. There's a machine or a system that can do way better than a person. They did a test in America of a show called Double Jeopardy. They picked the two best guys, only the sharpest guys in America in that show of Double Jeopardy. And they put them against AI. AI beat them like no one's business. That even the best of brains could not keep up with the intelligence of the machine. And you're looking at the situation that is in and you're wondering, how am I going to fit? Remember, there are good news. People need people. And we need efficiency in terms of work. So think of how the work that you do does not replace or is not replaced by the need for efficiency. But at the end of the day, we must relate with people and we must relate with God. However intelligent AI may want to be, it cannot have the opportunity of relating with God. And you now are the people we are depending on to make the difference in the social media space. In that space, we want informed people who can create content knowing why, knowing the impact, knowing what they're supposed to do, knowing what values they are ascribing to. You are the one who is now going to bring us and bring your audience to the place of make-believe. You are the one who will ask yourself, should I really send this and in this manner? Can I be sensitive about the other person? Can I be aligned? Can I think about that person before I send it? You are the people we are depending on to make a difference in the social media space, to create a voice of reason, to create that alternative voice, to be the people who will influence proper values. When others are pushing sexuality, what are you pushing? Don't just be a consumer. You're also now a content creator, and you can be that change that we are looking for. When others are pushing drugs, what are you pushing? What is the story you are telling the world? Is it about your faith? Is it about Christ? Is it about values? Is it about principles? What is it that you're pushing? We are receiving fashion. Is it possible to have people who can influence fashion designs and styles? Who can be proud of their outfits? Who can be proud of what they are creating, and people can begin to rally behind them and say, I like that. I want to identify with that. You are the people we need. And we hope you can influence many more people to be able to see that there is a power in your hands now. That power that was domiciled in the broadcaster through social media has been delegated to people now. So what will you do with that power? Who will you be a blessing to because of the power that is in your hands? There are people with that power. They have used it to body shame others. Asked for nudes, graciously received them, in their wisdom or lack of it, decided to publicize it for other people to comment. There are people with that power have used it to do bullying. There are people with that power. They have used it to push crime. With that power, there are people who have promoted sexual immorality. But at the same time, there are people with the same power who have preached the gospel like no one's business. There's a time I was come across at was it 19 or 21. Then if you guys saw a clip of a girl who was preaching in matatus. Muliona on TikTok? There are guys who have used their space to change lives. There are people who have used their space to teach. They said there are concepts I know I can share. The initial wave of the Gen Z movement had so many positives. People came out to teach people about what the law says. This is what the finance bill says. Guys who had never read, who did not understand, the legal minds used the power in their hands to teach and educate. You, what will you do with this power that is in your hands? What will you do with this power? To build or to destroy? That choice is right in your hands. I have officially finished what I wanted to share with you. I had wanted to have a small group. I don't know if time allows. I need to be guided. Sitaki kierere hapa inisumbue. Do I have any extra minutes by any chance? 5 or 10? It's okay? All right. Is it possible to divide ourselves in groups of, say, 15 or 20? Is it possible? Just within this space, and we do a small assignment if you don't mind. Is that possible? Can I get 2 volunteers who can help me work that out kindly? Please come, thank you very much. A gentleman who can volunteer to come and help me in doing that. All right, yeah.
Okay, hi. So can we, okay, this is how we are going to do it. Group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so for us to be orderly, like can the first row here move to that end? Please. The second row to the other side. Let there be a space between you guys. The third row here, fourth here. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. The first, yeah, to the end. The second, okay, you guys, okay. Till here, go to that other row. So in that whole aisle, you'll be 2 groups. Till here, you can move to this next one. Then you guys can remain here. Sorry. Okay. Till here, can you guys kindly go to that aisle there? Kindly move in front. Kindly, please. Okay. You are the second group. Or you are the first one? Second. First. Okay, then you guys. No, I want. Like, can there be a? You're in the first group or second?
Hii row iko vacant.
Yeah.
To nini hapo.
Where's the third group that was supposed to be here? Oh, you guys have. Okay. Okay. Stand and face each other. Okay. So you guys, please form a circle within your groups because it's going to be a discussion amongst yourselves. Yeah, like the example given by this group. Okay. Okay, then here. Okay. Can you guys form like a circle? Are you guys going to fit here or you need more space? Hi. Can they move? I don't think.
Yeah, so let's see. Then we move them. Let's see how they settle. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. All right. I'm going to give you a situation that I want you to discuss and tell me how you would respond to this situation that I'm painting. You are all members of a WhatsApp group. And in the WhatsApp group, a message has been forwarded. Guys, have you seen this? Chup. The message that has been forwarded, there is a clip somebody is saying, and listen to this.
Okay, so it doesn't really affect us in any way. We just continue living, and then if he has like his life, and then we have our lives. Okay. Yeah.
So it doesn't affect you. So we move on swiftly. Ina to affect aje. All right. This group, who is the leader? Yes. Yes.
So as a group, we've concluded that there were many like contributions at first. Some people say they'd ignore, others they'd react with the skull emojis, others would laugh. But as a group, we've decided that we would first like inquire from Pastor Precious first on what he thinks. We'll go like tumesikia uko na baby mama, like those stuff.
Okay. All right. Interesting. That group behind there. Wanakaa ni kama wako na very deep. These guys just look like they have deep points that we need to listen to.
So for this group, we concluded that we would first also inquire from Pastor Precious.
Okay.
Then we would report the post later.
Okay. Report it.
Yes.
Okay. Waitoe.
Eh,
Oh, wow. That group over there, I would like to hear what they have in store for us. Yes.
Yeah, a group name a ghost viewer.
Hakuna kitu yote
Hakuna reaction.
Hakuna reaction.
Hakuna.
You just look and move on.
Exactly.
Why? More fire. These guys here, let me hear what they had to say. Yes.
So in this situation, I think we have decided that it could be better to like either like ignore as a whole group or just like go and verify to Pastor Call directly as like an individual rather than spreading the whole information in the group and causing like an escalation of the issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that I give you the next situation to deal with. A couple of years ago, there was a story that emanated about Fred Omondi. I will not give the details about the story. And the conclusion of it is I had to stand in citamvrdke to be able to say, I am not the Fred Omondi that died. Now, when people received the news, the assumption was, if you say Fred Omondi, we know who you are talking about. So nobody had the critical thinking to ask, first of all, is this the one whom we know? So for instance, how did you think it is this Pastor Precious? You have no idea if we are talking about a Pastor Precious in Nigeria. We have already made a quick assumption that it has to be who? The one that we know. Because your first reaction is, kwani ndi mgani mwingine? Only for you to discover, oops. So when the news was coming out, I was receiving calls from, yes. Ask, sir. Yes. It is a good question. All these are WhatsApp groups that have received the message forwarded. Hey, the question is, who in the group brought the message? Because that message was brought by a member of your group. Yes. Yes. Wewe unafikiria kwa nini alileta? For example, for example, in my case, for instance, when I was receiving calls from guys even in the US who had seen it being posted in a group, RIP Fred Omondi, and they are sending it to them because they know you know the Fred Omondi, and guys are calling me from wherever saying, hey boss bana, others are even calling me, what is happening with your husband? What happened to him? To them, when they heard, whoever shared first, did they verify to confirm, is this the person we are actually thinking about? And I'm just giving real scenarios so that you know there is information that you will come across in your private groups. And sometimes you may want to pause a little bit and ask critical questions. So ask the person who forwarded, hey boss, hii story umetuforwardia ni nani, unaongea kuhusu nani exactly? The questions you're asking me should ask the person who was forwarded. By the way, mbona umeforwardia message? Tunaongea kuhusu press coordinator ama mwingine? Probably you begin asking those questions, the person will say, hata siko sure, wacha niulize. I have been in WhatsApp groups where somebody has forwarded something. After realizing, oops, they retracted, deleted, and apologized. Say, sorry guys, wrong group or wrong communication. These are practical examples of figuring out what do you do when information that has come that is sensational, that wants to attract your emotional response to it. What do you need to do before you are quick to make an assumption about the matter? Certain questions that are important just to ask, confirm, and verify. Second example that I want to give you. Now, this is not a fake story, it's a true story. I want you to tell me in that group, how would you respond to this true story? It's a true story. Somebody has come across somebody who is being body shamed. It is somebody that is known to you, and there are people making fun, making jokes, or whatever. In that space, this is somebody that I know, or is related to somebody that you know. What is it that we can do in that kind of a context to the person and with regards to the situation? Just 3 minutes. And now this is not fake, it is true. We know so and so, kimeumana in blanda. We don't even know how the news got there, but somehow, what do we do in response to the situation that now we know is true? 3 minutes. Yes. The scenario is you have come across a true scenario. Somebody is being body shamed. Nude yake iko mahali huko nje. It is not fake. It is a true story. But they are being trolled, they are being body shamed. What do you do to respond? It is somebody you know. It can be a member of the group. It can be somebody related to a member of the group. What do you do to respond to the person and the situation? Two and a half minutes. Two minutes. A minute and a half. One minute to go. Thirty seconds. Ten, nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. There's a guy who had a roving mic. Where's my guy with the roving mic? Thank you, sir. I'd like to hear that group, what they have come up with as a response strategy to the person in the situation. Who's the representative here? Yes. Ni wewe umechaguliwa. Please pass it to them. Please stand so that we can hear you.
Personally, okay, what you've discussed as a group.
Yes.
We'll look at the background between the beef between them.
The background. Oh, you first of all look at the beef between the two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then like find why.
Find out why.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then like start from resolving from there.
Then start?
Resolving from there.
Oh, all right. So what is the beef? So how is the beef going to help in what to respond?
Sorry?
The beef, if you discover hii beef imetoka shule, ilitoka mbali, so how does that affect your response?
Personally, I don't know.
You don't know, okay? That's okay. Can I hear the representatives of this group and then that group? Probably I'll start with that group. Let me start with this one, then come to these guys. Yeah, that guy. Your response? Yes?
First of all, I'd go check up on the person that was allegedly bullied and just try to comfort them. And then I'd go back to the person that started the rumor or the situation and just ask them the details and just go check on the facts.
All right. Comfort the people, follow the guys. All right. The group here.
Yeah, so we'll assess the situation.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll talk to both individuals involved, and then we'll try and cool things down.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You talk to the individual, try and cool things down, but the news still remain online. I heard that group. Let me hear the representative of this group. Who is speaking? Yes, please stand, thank you.
Our group, we discussed that we will not deal with the body shamer.
Okay.
We'll deal with the body shamed.
Okay.
Because we don't care about the body shamer. Like, you're just reflecting your own insecurities.
Okay.
But we have said that as a real friend, we'll insult you for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But as a Christian, I will preach the word to you. Take it or leave it. That's your own business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Take it or leave it. That's your own business. Before I give a story here, let me just hear these guys. There's a great gentleman here. Venye alianza na psyche clarify. I know he has deep points this time round. Let me hear your response.
Like this group as a whole, we've...
Please stand if you don't mind. Thank you, sir.
Like this group as a whole, we've taken the body shamer into account, the comments into account, and the one who was body shamed.
Okay.
Like for the body shamer, like we first have to find out like who it originated from, and why he did it, like the motives.
Okay.
And for like the comments itself, like if it's a WhatsApp group, we get like the moderator to take down those comments and maybe like inflict some sort of punishment to those who are like propagating the body shaming.
Okay.
And now to the body shamee, it's some would like laugh at the person, like why would you do that? Some would also like give tough love to the person, like you knew what you were doing when you were getting into it, and now you're paying the consequences, but we'll be there for you regardless.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the summary of this group.
I like that. We'll be there for you regardless. Let me give you two stories, and I'll probably conclude with this and give you an assignment for home. Story number one, a couple of years ago, I was traveling to Mombasa, and I got dragged on the bus to Mombasa. And while dragged, I was robbed and stripped naked. I was, discovered myself three days later. That put some drug so strong that I conked out for 3 good days. And guys, at that time, I was actually going for drama festivals, by the way, for the nationals. That year they were in Mombasa. And guys had to begin doing a small harambe to buy clothes for me because I was stuck naked. So, of course, there is the person who found me. Then there's a person who took me to Aga Khan Hospital, Mombasa, before I was given those 2 robes of theirs. Now, I was just imagining to my mind, between here and Aga Khan, if the persons involved in the transit had decided to be clever enough to say, by the way, tuko na msanii hapa ili iwe funzo kwa wale watu ambao wanakula kwa gari ovyo ovyo. Because I was dragged by an old guy who put something spiked in what they shared with me. An old guy, about almost 70 years. And then team members came and robbed me click. And that feeling of vulnerability at that moment is something that it is good to imagine. By the time somebody is exposed to that degree, the level of vulnerability that they are experiencing, what is it that you need to do? Even before you ask the questions of ulikuwa unafikiria nini, there is also a reality that they also have. That maybe I should not have done this, I would not be here. But you first of all want to begin dealing with the bleeding first before you start asking ulikatwa ukifanya nini. Because there are people who, out of that kind of expression and shame, the people who have committed suicide. They just could not imagine to themselves that they could face people again. The level and extent of the shame was too deep for them to imagine any other outcome if they came and faced somebody else who knew them. So you want to begin to, first of all, express. I love the group that says, what do we first of all do to comfort this guy? You're already in the mess. There are people who they did it knowingly or they didn't anticipate, but niko kwa blanda, the reality is the effect has dented who I am or what I think of myself. How do I first of all stop the bleeding? Then when somebody is in a place they can hear, that gospel can enter. Because they have first of all received the comfort, then they can receive the word. The last story, when we were beginning some years back, our first TV show called Hapakule News. The first episode, this one I'll never forget. I have never been insulted like that my entire life. Insulted online, insulted publicly. Why were some people insulting me? They didn't understand ukikimse keusi kinafanya nini TV. And they would put it on comments. Some would not like how you talk. Some would not like how you appear to them. What is this? Before even they go to the content, what is this show you are doing? Their first response was insults. Now you can imagine you are reading comments with your wife. And your son is also there. And you cannot hide the fact that this is your father, this is your husband, being insulted publicly. And the following week, you have to wake up, dress up, go to studio and shoot episode 2. And guarantee episode 2, I was also insulted. But it reduced a bit. Episode 3, insulted, reduced. It kept on reducing until the end of the season. And the whole season is 13 episodes, which is a good 3 months. So you can imagine for 3 months, every week, there is at least a group of people who have made it a point unto themselves to insult you. I don't hate the content, I just don't like you. I just don't like how you look. Wakitafuta mtu mweupe. And you have to wake up and deal with that insult because you have got passion for the art that you do. So sometimes we can give very harsh comments, and because social media does not give you the benefit of looking into the eye of the person you are saying the things to, it gives you a sense of being emotionally delinked to the impact of your comments. Nilisema nika move on to something else. I insulted and I moved on. That probably you may want to explore alternative ways, even when you want to give a critique of something. Is there a manner in which you can say it that can bring life instead of bringing death, that can bring hope instead of the people who, if they would have faced that kind of opposition, they would not have come out for episode 2. And I know of people who did only 1 episode on air. The kind of reaction the people gave them, they could not stand that reaction again. So the fear of trying, kasema si lazima to do, I can do other things in life. So sometimes the comments we give, if you don't know from people who've been through that kind of an experience, you may not realize the gravity that those comments may have. And so when you see somebody who is experiencing that, if you have an opportunity, even going through the DM and say, bro, sis, I know what you're going through, I'm praying for you. We hope things will turn better for you. That message may be the message that gives that person the hope to continue in something that may end up becoming a successful thing in life. In that season, there were those people who did exactly that for me. Who will come and say, wachana na hawa, sisi tunaona content inatubamba, we push. Vumilia, itapita, we push. Those kind of people are the people who helped us get to the finish line. Of course, the church community, of course, the prayer element, God supporting us. But given to your own self, there are things you experience that you wish the earth would open and you get swallowed up. To get up and face the people again knowing, do you mean, see guess what, ni huyu mimi. See guess what, ule msale kwa natokanwa ni huyu. Those are realities that sometimes you are not aware of, but it is good that you know, because you are the next people who are going to influence this world differently. This is a personal assignment going back. Just write the things that you purpose you're going to do. Outline the values you will use both to create your content, to analyze what you consume. Determine what you will give and what you will receive. Be that influence that the people will look back and say, thank God for so and so, they use their power to influence us differently. Write it down. If you have a close friend, family member, let them hold you accountable and say, this is what I have committed, and call that, these are my brand values. These are the things I have chosen to use to determine what I will consume and what I will churn out. And I want you to hold me accountable to it. And I hope that God can use you guys to change your generation. God bless you. Mbarikiwe sana. Thank you guys for the opportunity and for allowing me extra minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, BUDABOSS. Hi, everyone. Hi. Yes, you tell me hi, guys. Hi. You good? Yeah, so Ivan has a token of appreciation